All right, so we got some news from Sean McVay. Puka Nacua, Rob Havenstein, and Blake Corum are among those that did not practice today. Tutu Atwell and Omar Spates were limited, and Colby Parkinson was a full participant coming off his concussion. Now, earlier in the day, Jeremy Fowler ended up reporting that Puka Nacua avoided serious damage, but is considered a long shot to play on Sunday in London versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, we're going to get into it. Before we do, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan. In addition to that, please be sure to check out today's sponsor of this video and pretty much every video, Sleeper, because Sleeper is awesome. I use my Dynasty League on there. I use not just a football Dynasty League, but also my basketball Dynasty League and the Scott Fishbowl League. So love Sleeper, but they also have daily fantasy, and that's the big thing. So you want to use my code JKB. You'll get a 100% match up to a $100 deposit at sign up, and the link is going to be in the description below. But also, there's a $20 free entry without deposit. So if you haven't gotten in on the action there, you definitely need to check it out and get in on the action with Sleeper. Again, promo code JKB. The link is in the description below. So, Puka Nacua, I don't think is going to play. I don't think he should play. This is good news, okay? I want him to be a long shot to play because I don't even want them to chance putting out a guy who's not 100% and ask him to block and ask him to run routes and ask him to get his head knocked off over the middle. I don't want it. So, that said, what happens now? This Jaguars team is 4-2, just like the Rams. They're a good football team. They're going to keep this thing likely close. How are you going to win without Puka Nacua? Well, I think you could see some increased usage with Konate Mumfield. I want to start off by saying that. Xavier Smith, Terrence Ferguson, those are potential practice squad. Those guys in a potential practice squad elevation, whether that's Brendan Presley or True Edwards, I don't know. But I think all four of those guys, whether it's Presley or Edwards, with Ferguson, with Smith, with Mumfield, are going to see increased usage. Now, the thing I want to point out is that Xavier Smith had 13 snaps. Mumfield only had 9 last week. I think a lot of that had to do with Xavier Smith essentially playing the Tutu Atwell role while he was out, and Mumfield was just kind of filling in, kind of in rotation with a Jordan Whittington, although he was out there with Whittington at times. I think you see more Mumfield than Xavier Smith in this game. But the big thing is who is going to replace Puka Nacua? It's Jordan Whittington. He's going to be asked to do a lot of what they want out of Nacua. Now, he is not Puka Nacua, but Jordan Whittington is a good football player whose numbers just don't really match up to the skill set he has. Adams is likely to stay in his role. He's going to garner more attention and likely have more targets. I'm expecting Tyler Higbee, since that's a target that Stafford's very comfortable with. I'm expecting him to get in the action more. He had 4 catches, 4 targets for a touchdown last week. I think that was a really good sign. Higbee's back. Tutu Atwell is also going to be back, okay? He's going to be playing his own role. I'm expecting them to get a deep ball or two to Tutu Atwell, but I'm also expecting them to use Tutu Atwell as a clear out, and I could see Jordan Whittington eating away at this defense, chopping slowly but surely over the middle. His explosiveness and his ability after the catch cannot be understated. I think this is somebody who, again, is much more talented than what the stats would show, and I think this could be a really good game for him, as well as Tutu Atwell and, of course, Davante Adams, who has a lot of success against this Jacksonville Jaguars franchise. I do not expect the Rams to be shying away from throwing the football, okay? I understand there are a lot of people wondering, hey, if Nacua doesn't play, are the Rams just not going to throw the football? I would be shocked if they abandon the run or abandon the pass. I'd be shocked. This is a defense that is giving up stuff through the air. They are. They're a good defense. I like them. I went over them. They have talent. Montaric Brown is somebody to look out for. Jordan Lewis is good. Newsome, is he there? I don't think he's quite where he wants to be yet. I do think he could be a liability, but I think Eric Murray's played well. I think Andrew Wingard, they have a decent secondary. That said, they still got a 61-yarder over that secondary last week. Seattle did, with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I can still see Tutu Atwell getting a big explosive in this game. And I think that they can chip away at this defense with Whittington in the short passing attack, and I think they can get to Adams in the red zone. They don't have anybody, I believe, that can match up to Adams pound for pound. So I think this is a good opportunity for them to try and use him in the red zone a little bit more, but use him, maybe isolate him one-on-one instead of the crossers, in the back of the end zone, which they do work with him. Maybe throw a fade and have him go up and high point the football. Just a thought. But I'm not expecting this to hold the Rams back from getting the win. I still think they win the game without Puka Nacua. When I made my prediction of 28-22 on the NFC West Roundtable, that was assuming Puka Nacua is not going to play. I think this team's too talented. Again, Davante Adams is still a number one receiver in his own right. If I'm as high on this team as I claim to be, and I am, why would I not believe this team can't win without Puka Nacua? Nakua's huge for this team. No doubt about it. He's huge in the run game. He's huge in the passing game. He's like I said, he's a top 3 player. But the problem is, I think way too many are getting caught up and lost in the sauce of Puka Nacua. They're acting like the Rams can't win without him. I saw Colin Cowherd today saying that they're not a Super Bowl team yet. They're not in the Super Bowl bubble because Nacua is not playing. He's not out for eternity. He's probably out for this game. Maybe he's out against the Saints. I'd be shocked if he's not back by week 10 against the 49ers. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays against the Saints coming off the bye. I don't think he should, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I think way too many are overlooking the Rams, and they're putting way too much stock on this injury. I don't think they're giving enough respect to who's out there. And to be fair, the stats show that Jordan Whittington hasn't really done anything. I think it all changes this Sunday. In addition to that, the running back room, which of course is going to be a big deal because I think Kyron Williams is going to be utilized more in the passing game as he has been. I think that really helps them. But what about Blake Corum? Well, Corum didn't practice today, as I mentioned earlier, and because he didn't practice, no, I am not expecting the rookie Jarquez Hunter to get a ton of carries. I'm actually expecting Ronnie Rivers to be elevated from the practice squad. If the Rams do what I believe they're going to do, they will elevate Ronnie Rivers from the practice squad. He will be active on game day, and he'll slide in there as RB2. And they're going to activate Brennan Presley. Now, I believe they're going to activate Brennan Presley as well because I think that they want that depth in the wide receiver room, and they know that Presley can also kind of be in that Tutu Atwell role. I'm not saying he is Tutu Atwell. I'm not saying he's as fast as Tutu Atwell, but he can be that type of receiver, be a clear-out guy, maybe be a deep threat down the field. We're seeing this with the Buccaneers. They're having to get a little, experimental. They're dealing with a lot of injuries themselves. It's why Cameron, Johnson's playing, Tez Johnson's playing. These are guys that weren't supposed to play at this point. Here they are. They're playing. So you see it around the league. I mean, Lil Jordan Humphrey with the Giants. This is what you have to do. This is the name of the game. This is how you win in the NFL. It's next man up. And it sucks, and you hate it, but Nacua is not out for the year. I don't think he's out for 4 games. I think he'll be back either the Saints game or the 49ers game, but I definitely think they'll see him sooner than later. But in the meantime, the Rams just got to hold on and take care of business, and I believe they're going to do that. So for the fantasy football people out there, especially with Sleeper, if you're looking for the guy to pick up, I would say if you want to go boom or bust, Tutu Atwell. If you are a man of risk or a woman of risk, you go with Tutu Atwell. But if you want more of the safe option, I think it is Jordan Whittington, who's more likely to have more targets. He might not have as many yards because now you're banking on all those catches, him to convert. But, he's probably the safer bet. Tutu Atwell has found the end zone, okay? Jordan Whittington has never scored a touchdown, so there is also that. Tutu Atwell is more likely to have the big bomb, the big touchdown, the big 60-yarder, whereas Jordan Whittington is more likely to take a quick slant and take it for 20, 30 yards. And I would say, if I had to predict what we end up seeing, Tutu Atwell's stat sheet will probably show you 4 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown, whereas Whittington's might show you 7 catches for 55 yards. That's what you're looking at. Both, you'll take both, But obviously, the boomer bust in Tutu Atwell, I think he's going to give you more. So again, that's just for fantasy people that are interested in this whole thing. Figure I would give that, out to you. But no, I'm not worried about Devontae Adams. And I think this will be his game of the year. I'm probably going to say he's going to go for over 150 yards in this game. And I think he could end up with a touchdown. Well, I think he'll definitely catch a touchdown. The question is, will he catch 2 touchdowns and keep that streak going up against the Jaguars going? We'll find out. But that's all I got for you guys. Be sure to check out Sleeper. JKB is the code. And you could just hit the description below. The link is right in there. Be sure to get on the action with Sleeper. Be sure to check out the rest of the channel. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, folks. Later.